Elias Bicet, born in Havana, Cuba on July 20, 1961. He specialized in internal medicine, and he is married to Elsa Morjan, a nurse by profession. They have 2 children, Winnie and Yun. At the end of the 80s he protested against the Cuban communist regime. In 1994 the Cuban authorities accused and prosecuted him for being dangerous. In 1997, in collaboration with other members of the peaceful opposition movement, Dr. Bicet established the Lawton Foundation for Human Rights. On June 7, 1999, he began a hunger strike. During 40 days he only drank liquids in order to demand the release of all the political prisoners, and to attract the attention against the violation of human rights in Cuba. Thousands of Cubans rallied in 54 sites of fasting, as well their compatriots in exile around the world who also joined the fast in solidarity. Members of the international press covered the event, and foreign diplomats visited the small apartment at Tamarindo 34, in Havana. At the end of the fasting, he reassured his choice of non-violence, and claimed to have acquired the ability to love his enemies, replacing violence, anger, revenge, and hatred for justice and forgiveness. After 26 arrests suffered during a period of 18 months, and being subject of degrading tortures with the objective of demolishing his mood, has declared himself as follower of the philosophy of non-violence of Gandhi and Martin Luther King. Has been physically and psychologically abused, suffering beatings, threats, humiliation, blackmail, intimidation, interrogation, and imprisonment in individual cells with common criminals and mentally affected people. On several occasions, the state security has subjected him to psychiatric examinations in Missouri, the psychiatric hospital in Havana, and has been pushed to leave Cuba, to which he has responded that he will never leave his country. He was arrested and judged in trial in March 2003 and sentenced to 25 years. International Amnesty considers him as a prisoner of conscience, detained only for being peacefully exercising fundamental liberties, and they ask for his immediate and unconditional release. He is serving his sentence in subhuman conditions. He has been punished repeatedly in sealed cells. He has been detained in an underground cell during months. Over long periods, he has remained isolated and without allowing family visits. State of his health: essential arterial hypertension grade I, gastroduodenal ulcer, lumbar scoliosis and generalized osteoarthrosis, chronic oral sepsis, oral abscesses and painful inflammatory episodes. Has lost about 15 teeth. Very significant weight. He refuses to receive medical assistance by military doctors, as he does not trust if they will follow the codes of medical ethics. Firm in his demands for justice until Cuba achieves freedom, Dr. Bicet is in good state of mind and spirit despite of the abuse to which it is subjected. On a visit to the prison by his mother, he sent a message to his wife Elsa, asking that his Cuban brothers and sisters on the island, and the Cubans in exile, join in prayer with the international community, for the freedom of all the political prisoners, and for the freedom of expression in Cuba.
Lo que quieren es destruir la oposición, una oposición digna, de hombres dignos, de mujeres dignas, que a pesar de que pueden ponernos 20 años en la cárcel, estamos aquí presentes y que le vamos a exigir que respete los derechos humanos, le vamos a exigir que libere a los presos políticos.
Dr. Oscar Elias Bicet serves a prison term of 25 years for demanding respect for human rights in his country.
Solamente torturar no es sacarle las uñas a un preso o sacarle los ojos. Torturar es negarle una asistencia médica a un preso, darle este tipo de alimentación y de agua.
Liberated in 2002 after 3 years of imprisonment, Dr. Bicet was once again detained after only 36 days of excarceration. This time, he was sentenced along with 74 other fellow Castro oppositionists in what history describes as the Dark Spring of Cuba.
Yo soy un hombre que me guío por la palabra de Dios y que amo al prójimo.
In 1997, Dr. Bicet founded the Lawton Foundation for Human Rights and denounced the indiscriminate practice of abortion by the Castro regime. In 1999, Dr. Bicet, along with other members of the Cuban opposition, initiated one of the most noted activities of civil disobedience in the island, the Fast of Tamarindo 34.
Queremos dar a conocer al mundo de que aquí en Cuba hay una oposición que está dispuesta a ir a conquistar los derechos humanos del pueblo cubano.
Upon the celebration of the communist island of the 9th Ibero-American Summit, Dr. Bicet and the Lawton Foundation for Human Rights organized a series of activities with the main goal, that the world would know the truth about the life in Cuba. Defender of the Cuban rights in his country, Dr. Bicet, on various occasions, was the victim of the repression of the Castro regime. Today in prison, he remains in an isolated cell in a dire state of health, but true to his principles.
Y nosotros tenemos una máxima que decimos que cuando un gobierno encarcela injustamente a sus ciudadanos, el deber de un hombre justo es la cárcel. O sea, que una de las violencias que puede aplicar Castro es la cárcel y nosotros estamos dispuestos a ir a cumplir esta cárcel por la libertad del pueblo cubano.
On November 2007, President George W. Bush awarded Dr. Bicet in absentia the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civil award of the United States government. A month later, Dr. Bicet was awarded the Dr. Rainer Hildenbrandt International Human Rights Medal in Berlin, Germany, at the Mauer Museum at Checkpoint Charlie. Elsa Morejon, Dr. Bicet's wife, during a health visit in the United States, was received by President George W. Bush, and she expressed her gratitude for the award, an honor bestowed on Dr. Bicet on behalf of all the Cuban political prisoners.
Yo no vivo en un país libre, yo tengo que regresar a Cuba y quiero agradecer al presidente de los Estados Unidos la bondad que ha tenido de permitirme este encuentro, de permitirme expresarme ante el mundo para pedir ayuda a la comunidad internacional para lograr la excarcelación inmediata e incondicional de mi esposo, el doctor Oscar Elias Bicet, y el resto de los prisioneros políticos y de conciencia que hay en Cuba.
Dr. Oscar Elias Bicet, follower of the ideas of Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr., is serving a prison sentence of 25 years for his demand of human rights for his fellow Cuban brothers.
No apoyaría nunca la constitución comunista. Y si tendría que algún día, en un futuro, tener un cargo público para representar a mi pueblo, jamás juraría, no pondría mi mano en esa constitución y le juraría al pueblo sobre esa constitución. Yo juraría, como le dije en otra ocasión a otro periodista, sobre una constitución democrática, libre y que defienda los derechos humanos del pueblo cubano. Sobre esa constitución y en nombre de Dios, entonces defendería a mi pueblo.
Dr. Bicet sent a message from prison to the Cuban people and to the international community.
La comunidad internacional tiene que ponerse de parte del pueblo cubano. La comunidad internacional no puede seguir apoyando a un régimen tiránico que oprime a su pueblo y le quita sus derechos básicos.